The staffing structure of studio schools is slightly different from a conventional school as well. They have a director, a principal, just the way that any school does. But the major change is that we've taken the job of the teacher and split it into two parts. We've got the learning coaches, and the learning coaches are teachers, qualified teachers, and they'll teach the subject knowledge that young people have to acquire. But the new job is the personal coach, and the personal coach is a type of mentor. Again, we know from research evidence and from empirical evidence that good pastoral care provides better outcomes. What we've traditionally done in schools is we've made teachers responsible not only for subject knowledge but also for pastoral care. Now, it may be very different in Italy, but in England, teachers don't have enough time for pastoral care. They've got 1,000 other things to do, and that tends to slip down their list of priorities. There's also some evidence, and this may not be a popular thing to say with this audience, but there's also some evidence that teachers lose their social skills very, very quickly. Partly because they've gone from school, they've gone on to university, and then they go back into school. And their work is essentially directive. They're telling people what to do. They're informing people all the time. They don't have colleagues in the way that people do have in most workplaces. And they're often not good people to, in fact, pass on those employability skills. So we took that away from them. This is a kind of... there's really no such thing as a typical day in a studio school because they are quite small, they're very new, and they're all very different from each other. But really, this is just to give you some sense of what might happen. You'll notice that they start relatively early. There might be a small team who meet to plan a project that they're going to work on later that day. They'll have a single subject lesson at some point later in the day. They'll work on a project with a larger group of students, and towards the end of the day, they might have some coaching. You could look at dozens and dozens of different things and say, this is what happens in studio schools, but this is as good as any to give you a flavour of it. I think it's important to emphasise that nothing revolutionary is happening in studio schools. All of these things are happening in schools all around the world. What makes studio schools unique is it's bundled these things together into a single institution and places them at the core of that school's activity.